This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Canine Crew, it's time to just sell the damn thing. Doberman Dan is revealing his contrarian formula for getting a rush of new customers, building your business faster, and making the highest possible profits. Go to justsellthedamnthing.com to get your copy today.
Prepare yourself for the uncensored, nothing held back, no BS reality of how business and life really work. Doberman Dan is off the chain.
Canine Crew, welcome back to another edition of the Off the Chain Show. If you tuned in last week, then you know we were talking to Lee Milteer, and we had to cut it short, but we're back with part 2 of that interview, so let's dive back in.
You were talking about conditioning and how, we're being conditioned to all be the same. They want us to be the same. They want us to not rock the boat. They want us to not be able to think. I mean, that conditioning starts pretty much from birth. And then there are the rare people who decide like, hey, I don't want to be a robot clone. I'm all about independence. I want to do my own thing, and they usually find their way into entrepreneurship, the arts or something. But yet I found that perception manipulation, that programming, that brainwashing, whatever you want to call it, I mean, that's embedded deep. So how often do you have to deal with that, with bad programming, with mindset issues, with wrong thinking when you coach somebody? Can you just coach somebody like, hey, let's look at your business, look at your numbers. Great. That's what we got. Do this, this, and this. And your clients say, great, they do it. Thanks for that, Lee. It got great results. Or is it more mindset issues? Is it a balance of the two? What do you find?
I find, Dan, that people primarily sign up because they can justify the expenses because they think they're going to talk about business. And so like if an hour coaching, by the way, I send lots of forms and make them fill out a lot of stuff. So I know a lot about them before we actually see each other or talk on the phone or be on Zoom or whatever we are. I find that within the first 30 minutes, I already know that they're so messed up because of their mindset, because of their programming, because that they have no discipline of thinking, because they're following the wrong bell. It's all mindset. Everything about success, the core of all success has to be the caliber of quality of what you think and then what you take action on because of that. And people become paralyzed because they've been programmed from birth. These statistics that by the time you're 5 to 7 years old, your programming is pretty much locked in. That, whatever you got during that very beginning part of your life, it's locked in, and that you've got to spend pretty much the rest of your life trying to get it the hell out of your life. So in an average hour, like yesterday, I had a jewelry store owner who was a fabulous guy. So we spent 15 minutes on his business and 45 minutes on stinking thinking, so to speak, or, the mind trash. Because here's a guy who wants to be really successful. However, he's been roped into 2 association meetings. He's the mayor of his small town and has been for like 14 years because nobody else will step up to the plate. He, on an average day, spends over 5 hours just fixing friends' problems. And I'm like, resign, stop. Have you lost your mind? You cannot give away your prime real estate time, constantly giving this away, and then expect your business to thrive. Because you're really, if we get serious, you're only spending less than 2 or 3 hours a day on your own business because you're a rescuer. Because somewhere in your mindset and somewhere in your self-image, you've adopted this hero mentality and that you sacrifice yourself to be a hero to other people. And we need to cut that out.
And that's a result of program. That message there is big time programmed into us that you need to sacrifice your life for the collective.
Yeah, we're not Spock here, This is what I'm saying. I'm sorry, is your name Spock? That wasn't on your application.
I get that reference, by the way. I totally get that reference. Yeah. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Yeah. You're not Mr. Spock.
Only if you're on Star Trek, okay? And you're getting billions of dollars a year for being in this part. Yes.
That's, we're laughing about that, but that's just another cog in the machine of the programming. That movie is part of the programming.
Absolutely. And so, like I used to belong to the National Speakers Association, and I was in that for 14 years. And after a while, I said, this is very nice. I learned whatever I needed to learn. Mostly I learned don't do what they're doing. And, I got out. And people would email me, Dan, and say, oh, I know you're a speaker, so you must have a speaker's contract. Would you send it to me, please? And I would email back, excuse me, I actually paid a lawyer for this. And, I'm not inclined to just share it with someone, especially someone I don't know. Secondly, you're not my coaching client, which I might share it with you. You've never even bought one of my books. And, just because I used to be part of the National Speakers Association, you think I should give it to you? And they will literally write back, well, it's all about sharing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Well, share some money, honey.
Right. Let me try that line when I go to the bank to pay my mortgage. Hey, I know you guys are asking for this mortgage payment, but it's all about sharing. So let's share some goodwill and you guys just waive this payment, will you? Because I shared, my speaker's contract with this, blood-sucking freebie seeker. So,
Yes. So, and they shame you. And they're angry at you because they've asked for something and they have this mentality that if they had the guts to ask for it, you should voluntarily give everything over to them. Well, there are two kinds of peoples in the world. There are takers and there are givers. Now, I'm a giver, but I'm a giver in the appropriate manner. I give to people who give back to me. There's a fair exchange for value. I guess it was very hard for me many years ago when I became a coach not to allow people to suck free coaching out of me and knowledge out of me that I'd spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn, an incredible amount of time. And I found this very important, and everybody should write this down. When we set a precedent with people on what we do for them, they now expect that. So anybody who, I dealt with this just last week, a bookkeeper who had worked for me for 7 years, who I paid for 7 years. She got my Millionaire Smarts program for free, which was worth, several $100s a month. She got all my books. She got that because she was just part of my organization. And, she was a freelancer subcontractor. So she comes to me last week and she wants me to coach her on something. And so I gave her my rate sheet and her face dropped and she said, well, I thought you were going to do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, why would I do that? I paid you for 7 years. I didn't ask you to do bookkeeping for free. And she goes, but we're friends.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, honey, Missy, I'm happy to be your friend, but I got overhead. I got people to feed. I got a real brick and mortar office with people there. I have to justify my energy and time and knowledge, just like a lawyer, just like a surgeon would do. But trust me, she left the meeting mad at me.
Of course.
Her expectation was that I had set a precedent many years ago of giving her everything.
Jonathan and I had a similar conversation on a previous episode. I believe the one right prior to this one.
Uncanny.
Yes. On this exact same topic. And both of our experiences have shown that. So what happens, for example, let's say you did do that to her. You're like, oh, okay, honey. Well, yeah, we'll do free coaching. What probably would have happened is, first of all, the value of your coaching in her mind immediately drops to zero because that's what she paid for it. Therefore, it's not acted upon. And for reasons I don't understand, when you give people things like that, or you help them for free, or especially if you give them or loan them money, something weird happens in their kooky cranium and they wind up hating you. Or, I mean, if they don't hate you, they at least resent you.
Exactly. They pretty much hate.
Understand that.
They might mask it. They especially if you, by the way, anybody I have ever lent money to, not only did I not get paid back, but they hated me.
Now, this makes no sense at all. Like, it's logical sense, right? You think, gee, you helped somebody out. You gave them your valuable intellectual property that other people pay thousands and thousands of dollars for, or you loan them money. You gave the money. Hell, giving them of your time is about a million times more valuable than money. But why does that get twisted into them resenting you and hating you? Do you know?
That's a very complicated subject. Maybe a great psychologist could figure that out. I think that deep down that people now the positioning has changed. So they're in a lower position because they borrowed money from you and you gave them money. And they hate to acknowledge that you're in, for lack of a better word, Dan, in a higher position.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, that's very simplistic, and I'm sure people who are, listening to this might be able to describe this more, but I have been very shocked in my life, particularly with staff people who I have done amazing things for, how they turn to hate you and then try to destroy you.
Mm-hmm. This is a common story I hear all the time from entrepreneurs.
And I have a whole list of people who I have done extraordinary things for, like save their butt and lent them money and help them with their mother having cancer and, just incredible things. And then they, one little thing goes wrong, and then the wrath of God comes upon you and their desire to destroy you. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's made me really be very, very careful now about my precedents. And when I hire people, I'm very, very careful to make sure that they don't want to be a writer, a speaker, or a coach, because that will be the kiss of death. If you're doing something they want to do and you're helping them out in some way and they can't achieve the level that you will achieve, because truthfully, they either one, don't have the talent for it innately, or they're not willing to put into it what they want out of it, which I am. They hate people who are successful at it. Like, I'll tell you, I had an assistant who almost destroyed my business last year, who I had helped more than anybody I've ever helped in my life. And she actually wrote on Facebook about me that she hated me with such a passion and that she couldn't understand how I was so successful. But meanwhile, she watched me work incredible, 7-day weeks, long hours, long travel. I'm writing, I'm coaching, I'm speaking, I'm doing all these things. I'm always working. And she hated me. So the only thing you really can do is eliminate those people from your life and don't let them reside in your head. So all I really do is I forgive them, I release them, and wish them well. I don't want to engage with them, but I want them out of my reality.
That's a very nice way of dealing with it.
It took a long time to come to that. Other than I'd like to really hire a hitman and kill you, but that's kind of not cool.
Well, I'm actually glad to hear you say it. I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one who's felt that way.
No. I there were times if I could, I would love to do things, but you can't. You always have to be a person who is taking the high road. That's because you're only creating, if you believe in karma, you're just creating bad karma for yourself if you don't.
I forget who the quote's from, but they said, like, this sounds like a Mark Twain thing. Hating someone and not forgiving them is like you drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die.
Yes. I don't know who said that, but you're absolutely right. That's, that's exactly true. When we hold grudges, this is the mental part and the emotional part of our currency. If if we're thinking about how much we hate someone and how horrible things they've done to us, we're actually creating ourselves as a victim. And at some point, if you let that sink in, that I'm a victim because of what this person did, well, that's going to show up in your life in the future, because, what you're thinking and what you're doing now is creating your future. So if we allow ourselves to get into this mindset of, I've been screwed, and, now I think that everybody's going to screw me, it will affect your future. So you just have to take the high road. You have to just let them go. You have to just move on.
Well said. I wish there was somebody. I wish I didn't have headphones on right now, but we won't even go down that road. I want to talk about something you said earlier about the employee who observed all the things you do and still said, I don't know why she's successful. I hate her. Well, paint us the picture. So people know, the people who are dreaming of the 4-hour work week, paint us the picture. So what is life like in Virginia Beach with you and Cliff? How's Clifton, by the way?
He's fantastic. Thank you for asking.
And this is off the topic, but what animal companions do you have now?
We have a cat and a dog.
Okay. I was thinking you had 3 dogs for some reason, but it's just a cat and a dog now.
Right now, that's all we have. At the moment, the living creatures are a cat and dog. And I usually have horses, but at the moment, I don't have horses.
Okay. So I know you have an office, but I think you mostly work out of your home, correct?
Yes, I do have a real office, and I work out of my home. I have a writing office at my home. And the reason being is, nobody can really write in an office where other people are doing business and they're always interrupting you. Because every time somebody interrupts you, it'll take you 30 minutes to get back to wherever you were, if you can get back to even where you were.
Yeah, exactly. If you can get back, because one interruption can just ruin
the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, just so you know, on the outside of my writing door at my home, it says, do not enter unless there's fire or blood. And I'm serious.
That's about as clear as can be. Because others, at least my experience, others often don't understand that one little interruption, although they may think it's important and urgent at that moment, can ruin like weeks of preparation in an instant. Like, you just totally took me out of the zone.
Yes. And I am very violently vocal about that.
Well, good for you.
I am, very much. Nobody ever thinks I'm a shy person.
No, we can't claim that about you, Lee.
No,
so
not at all.
Paint us the picture. I know you do a lot of things, and it's probably hard to say what an average day is, but I just want people to get a feel for really what it takes if they want to be a thought leader, if they want to be a true leader in something, an expert in something, they want to be successful in a niche. What is a typical day like for you?
Well, it's a very hard question because, as you well know, it's very different. But I'll just tell you that I get up around between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. I like to get up early because it's quiet. So I get up, I have my cup of coffee. I'm with I call them the kids, the dog and the cat. The first thing I do is journal in the morning, just kind of clear my thoughts. Then I write a list of the things that need to be done for the day. And then I do something I call scripting, which you and I talked about from my book, Reclaim the Magic, which is I write out about the future Lee Milteer and everything she's going to do as if it's already happened. And what I'm really doing is creating a new reference, because we're made of 4 volts of electrical chemical energy. And every time you have a thought, good or bad, right or wrong, it imprints in your brain and creates a picture. So I create new references of what I want to do. So I'll just say today. So today my thing is doing all that. I was up and running. I started in my actual writing office at 8 a.m. I'd already had breakfast. I'd exercised a little bit. I went over my to-do list of things that need to be done. Now, I run several businesses. I have Millionaire Smarts Coaching, which is a done-for-you coaching thing. So I write articles or create something for that in the membership site every day. I'm now running peak performers for the old GKIC. That's okay. I've got a new gig in Japan that I'm going to be gone a month in Japan. So I'm working on my Japanese slides because everything is going to be transcribe for 3 days. And this is quite daunting, I might add. I've got 2 new assistants, which, we're creating systems of, how to keep track of things because I'm doing so much every day. I do take a lot of things that I write and I repurpose them. So a lot of things that I'll write for Millionaire Smarts, I can repurpose to Peak Performers, that I can then repurpose to a blog, that I could repurpose to, to the Japanese audience. And there's a publisher in Japan who publishes everything I do and has for 12 years. And so they have a license to all my products. So there's a lot of communications with, like, I have a lot of speaking gigs that I do. So I'm having meetings with my staff about, getting airlines, getting hotels, travel arrangements, dealing with publishers. I've got a new book publisher that I'm considering writing a book called The Prison of Beliefs, which we've started. I don't know when I'm going to finish it, but, that's just part of the day. That's today. That's what I've been doing today. And then interviews with you, and then another interview at 5:00 tonight.
Are you on the road a fair bit, speaking at conferences still, or has the digital stuff and podcasts been partly a replacement?
I would say the digital podcast stuff has replaced, some of the on-road stuff, but I also, you got to know where you're effective. I am the most effective on stage. If I want clients, if I want people to sign up for my e-zine at milteer.com, if I want, if I want people to buy my products, I need to be on a stage. I mean, I am memorable on a stage. And by the way, I show up on a stage with this long blonde hair and red cowboy boots and, a black suit. And I am formidable. There is no little dainty gal on stage. I'm kicking ass and memorable. And, so I'm always wanting to figure out, how to have more stage time. And I will say that the blogs and, the Zoom stuff is all great. But I do believe the world is almost saturated with that stuff now. Everything comes and goes. So like if you think of, like the early 90s, like public seminars were the rage. And that went through its phase. Now you can't even find a public seminar very often. Coaching now is like all the rage. By the way, I'm researching some stuff from Japan this morning, and I'm looking at different people who offer coaching courses, and I'm laughing my head off. I swear to you, Dan, I found a site that will certify you to be a coach for $14.95.
Ooh, boy.
Oh,
wow.
I tell you.
That's the cheapest anointing I've ever found. $14.95.
And there was one for $19.95 too, which I guess, I don't know what else you got for that, like a gold sticker on your thing they're going to mail you. But and I'm guessing they're not mailing anything for $14.95. But, that's very big right now. But that's going to fade. Everything, all of this stuff just comes and goes, and your job is to just be a hair ahead of it. That's always your job. Right.
It all changes, and we can lament the changes. Like if we've been prosperous, like the people who were making a killing with broadcast facts back in the day.
Oh, yes. Yes.
There are a lot of people who lamented that being made illegal and have never recovered since. And there are some people who are like, okay, well, that thing's gone. Let me find something else.
Yeah, and that's really the core of entrepreneurship is you're scanning the landscape of your reality. You're looking for the next trend. So, like I'm studying investing, and you're not supposed to study like investing today. I'm not stock trading. I'm not day trading. I'm not capable of doing that. But I'm like looking at the middle class and saying, okay, where are they going to be in 20 years? What is the thing to invest in? And one of the reasons I'm interested in investing is I don't want to be on the road 25 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Like have to be on the road. Like, I toured with Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy, and I love them. But these guys like are on the road and they're like 80 years old. And no matter what, if you've never been on the road, there's nothing glamorous about being on the road. It's called I don't care what your hotel room look like. After a while, they all look alike. All the food, if you've been in a hotel more than 3 days, you don't know if you're eating fish, chicken, steak. What is this? It's all mush. It's just all tastes the same. Getting on an airplane, first class is not what it used to be. There's nothing glamorous about sitting around doing this. Nothing.
Right.
So it's just, you got to think of what is the future for me? What can I start investing in today while I'm comfortable, meaning investing your time, your energy, and your efforts. I'm never going to retire because I would be insane, because I have to have challenge. I am wired for challenge. I'm the kind of person who, we program ourselves like this. It's the bases are loaded and you're on your second strike. You got to hit the home run.
Yeah.
That's how I'm wired.
Yeah. The concept and the entire concept of retirement, like that was sold to us at age 65, now you're out to pasture and you just lounge around and stuff. Like, well, for the sheeple that works, but for somebody who's got any kind of ambition, that's a fate worse than death.
By the way, in today's world, the word ambition is a bad thing.
Yeah, I've discovered that. In one of Dan Kennedy's recent newsletters, he mentioned that some university in Texas now has a full-time employee to teach their male students the evils of, for all intents and purposes, basically the evils of ambition and competitiveness and how that's so incorrect.
I kind of feel sorry for the young women today, because the men, to me, look so feminine and wimpy and waffly. I'm like, I like men. I like testosterone.
Yeah, not a castrated male,
Men should be men, women should be women. And I'm not saying you have to be anything in particular, but for God's sakes, this is what your DNA is, leverage it.
Grow a pair.
Exactly.
Lee, I really appreciate you doing this today. What is the best way for someone to find out more about you, to get information about you, maybe stay current on what you're up to? What's the best way to do that?
The best probably way is just go to my website, milteer.com, Milteer, and I'm under Lee, Lee. And if you just sign up for my e-zine, which is called Gems of Wisdom, I'm not something who does it every day. It comes out 2 or 3 times a month, so it's not overwhelming. The other thing is I have a gift for your folks if they'd like it. It's a 5-video series I offered once before to your group. It was called 5typesofenergy.com, and it's FIVE types of energy. And there are 5 energy short little videos. It's worth about $100, but it's free. And it's about mental energy, physical energy, emotional, spiritual, and financial. And it's just a lot more tips than we talked about today. So if you sign up for that, you automatically get on my e-zine list. I do, speak at all the new No BS conferences. I have a Wealth and Power mastermind group. I do a lot of things. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, but I only do coaching with, entrepreneurs and business owners. If you're with IBM, you're not going to want to coach with me.
Right. There'll probably not be any connection with that group.
No. And I used to work many years ago for a lot of corporations, Walt Disney, IBM, Ford Global. I certainly have my chops in that world, but I was never one of them.
Right. I can see why you would not feel that that's a good fit for you.
Well, by the way, they loved me because but while you were on stage, they loved that rebel energy that they were very, very attracted to, but would never be able to maintain for themselves.
Right. I don't quite understand. They like it, but they don't want that in their culture. Okay.
No. And one of the complaints I had from Walt Disney one time was, we love you and we're going to continue to always have you quarterly come, but could you knock it off? Because a lot of people are quitting after you speak.
God forbid. Oh, that's funny.
I said, look, I'm getting rid of all your dead wood. That's just an extra benefit. People who don't want to be here, you should want them to leave.
That's right. And the sooner the better.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm easy to find. You can Google me, but this has been a delightful, off the cuff, fun, honest, communications, and it is what it is.
Well, thank you for doing it. You're a trooper for doing it. Like, there are not many people I could just hit up and say, "Hey, be on the show," and that's it. There was no prep. We didn't even have a topic to talk about, but I knew it would be good because I know you. So thank you. I appreciate it, Lee.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate it. You too.
All right. That is a wrap for another Off the Chain show. Canine Crew will be back in your earbuds next time. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Canine Crew got a special treat for you, what we are affectionately referring to as the Off the Chain hotline. Tell us you love us. Tell us you hate us. Ask questions. We don't care. Just call 321-424-6043 and give us a piece of your mind.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.